Hello, everyone. A very good morning to you. Welcome to the Book Clubs Across Borders session between Rawalpindi and Parwan. The book that we're going to be discussing today is Alice Albania's Empires of the Indus. And this book is very important both for Pakistan and Afghanistan because the river that is in discussion in the book is the river that connects Pakistan and Afghanistan as well. Because one of the tributaries of the Indus falls into the Kabul River, which is something that has a connection between Pakistan and Afghanistan. For Pakistan, Indus River is the main source of water into the country. And if we did not have this river, Pakistan would not have water directly flown into the country. Another very important part about the Indus River is that the Indus River also talks about the Indus civilization, which is one of the oldest civilizations in human history. It's the Mesopotamian and the Roman empires and the Greek and Egyptian civilizations. Indus River's two old heritage sites are Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. Both of them are placed in Pakistan and are used as a source of great excavations and understanding the culture and the past of this region. It is also commonly known that the people of the Indus Valley were the first people to live in clustered groups and have a system of governance.
मैं कम नहीं कराऊंगी बढ़ाऊंगी कोई नहीं इसलिए कि हालात देखें जब मैं आई तो कोरोना भी मेरे साथ ही है
Sharon, please mute your mic.
Sharon, mute your mic, please. You can do that, Miss Alia. You can mute people because you're the.
All right. So moving on. So this is something that is fascinating and worth exploring between the students. So on that note, let's go to Parwan and ask them of what they thought about the book, the way it was written, and if anything in the book kind of spoke to them and they would like to discuss it further. So Parwan, over to you.
In the name of Allah, hi everyone. As I read the book, it's really interesting for me, and a lot of things, or a lot of a lot of subjects that I know about the book.
Parwan, your mic is muted and we cannot hear you. So if you could kindly unmute your mic.
Okay. In the name of Allah, hi everyone. As I read the book, I know a lot of things because of that. When she traveled from Kabul to Pakistan, when she crossed from a river from Karachi to Delta, as I think from Karachi to Delta, he saw someone, he knows a young person, and I was with three teenage with hard-red ankles. She made that they never go to his school and they never read something, and there was something that I really sad because of them when elder brother of Alina was dead in 1999 because of that. And when you read the book, the book mentioned a lot of stories or a lot of things sad, enjoying. And when she said we were catching the fish for our dinner, and it's hard to us to find a fish or in the ships that they have been, and that's interesting for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. So one of the things that the book talks about is the food that you find as you cross the river and the food practices of different communities and ethnicities that she came across as she was traveling across the river path. One of the things that was part of their dietary consistently, that was part of their diet, was the fish that they found in the Indus River. But there were lots of other things that also became a byproduct of the river's flow, which was most of the area that the river crosses is agricultural. So it provides water to make sure that you have a great agrarian society. And the Indus civilization itself was an agrarian culture and society and civilization. So there was that angle as well. On that note, I'd like to go to my friends in Pakistan and ask them if there was something else that they found fascinating as they were going through the book and that they would like to discuss with us. So Pakistan, over to you. If you could give us maybe a summary of the book that you read and things that you found fascinating and would like to discuss further.
Hello. Hello, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Amna and I'm from grammar school. I would really like to share a little thing about the river Indus. In 326 BC, Alexander invaded India after crossing river Indus, and he challenged a king of the land between tributaries of river Indus, river Jhelum and river Chenab, and the king name was Porus. He was Hindu, and they were defeated there. And even though they were fighting with elephants, and the Macedonians had never before they never had seen elephants because even though they won the battle there as they crossed the river Jhelum, and they attacked the son of Porus, the Indian king or the Hindu king, you can say. And from there they defeated after many long. It was a long time. The Muslim king defeated the Hindu king Porus at that tributary of Jhelum.
Thank you so much for that thought. I'm sorry, but I was slightly confused. You were talking about the Mesopotamians and then suddenly the Muslim king came. So if you could maybe bring me some clarity on that. The Mesopotamians were Greeks and pagans. So I'm just trying to understand where the Muslim angle came in. So if you could just maybe elaborate on that, I'd really appreciate it.
Yes, I'm sorry. I literally mixed some of the information. It was clearly about the Macedonians. Alexander, you can say, when he invaded India. He challenged Porus, the Hindu king, who was the king of the land between river Jhelum and river Chenab. That's what I wanted to say. I'm sorry, I mixed a little information in it.
That's all right. Thank you so much. So yes, so one of the most interesting parts about the Indus civilization is that, or the root of the Indus is that it is also, historians have also been able to, figure out and clearly understand that the Greek army at the time of Alexander the Great traveled all the way from Greece into what is now known as Texela. They came all the way to Texela, and they found certain sites and certain valuables and certain objects that kind of dated us back to the times of Alexander. So that was one of the things. So that tells us how old the whole story of Indus itself is. And one of the other things that I'd like to talk about is the different cultural aspects that the book discusses, the celebrations, the mysticisms, the sometimes not very overtly possible to see esoteric practices. And if anyone from either Parwan or Pakistan would like to talk about that, that would be kind of a fascinating dialogue to have. Parwan?
Hi everybody. My name is Parvat. About this book, it has some similarities and some difference about our culture, about our neighborhoods that we have, and I think the biggest similarities that we have with Pakistan it is about that some peoples in Pakistan they are Muslim and they pray and they have some similarities with us, and the big thing about them I think it's about Ramadan, and the first part of the book is about Ramadan, and I think the big similarity that we have with Pakistan is about this.
Thank you so much for that. Yes, when the book opens up and Alice is in Karachi, it is a month of fasting and the Muslim month of Ramadan. And she talks about the food, the celebration, the lifestyle, how everything changes in this month. And as then she moves further, the month changes, the seasons change. And as she moves into different parts of Pakistan, traveling from Sindh into Punjab, she talks about that. And when from Punjab, she moves on to the north of Pakistan, which is the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Gilgit-Baltistan region. She talks about the different civilizations, the different people, the different foods, and the different cultural practices that she comes across. And in the book, she also talks about how unique the people of this region are and what they are like. And one of the things that she really picks up on is the hospitality that the people of the region have, their sense of giving and their sense of celebration at even the most mundane of things. She talks about the musical instruments, some of the musical instruments that we find in Pakistan, especially as we travel the road of the Indus, are instruments that have been that have come into the region from either the Persian, the Afghan, or the Chinese areas that are connected via the borders. And as they move into the region, they get integrated into the region and take a new form. So if any one of you would like to talk about the music or the instruments that she speaks about and their relevance to the region, I would love to have your thoughts. So Rawalpindi, anyone who would like to take this?
First, I would like to talk about the famous folk stories like Kasti Panudir and Mahiwal are based on River Indus. And if you come on the instruments, they use this is dhol, called dhol. It's a round body, almost like sometimes they use drumsticks, or sometimes they use hands to just beat it and pat on it, so it makes a sound, bass sound, and it was basically used as music. And in the festival of Jhulelal, the people used to dance on it.
Right. Thank you so much. So yes, the book also covers a lot of legends and folk tales as we move around the river. So there are certain legends that I come across, like the legend of Jhulelal, and then there are certain stories that come across, like Soni Mahiwal, Heer Ranjha, Laila Majnu, just to name a few. If we were to talk about the folk tales and the legends that are mentioned in the book, I would love to ask anyone if they could tell us the story of Jhulelal as to how they understood it from the book. Parwan, would one of your students like to talk about the story of Jhulelal and who he is and what his story is?
Okay, if anybody else want to talk about something else that they find out about the book, feel free. Please come on. I'm sorry that I didn't exactly answering the question, but then I'm please speak.
Jhulelal, first day of the
Rawalpindi, I will just come to you. We have someone from Parwan who wants to give their thoughts, and then we will just come to you.
In the name of Allah, Assalamu alaikum everyone. I say about the eat your first food. When Hazrat Bilal said the Adhan, Muhammad peace be upon him, we lovely to him, and the slavery divided into two parts, one skin, the black skins and two white skins. The first fruit, the first fruit of Ethiopia about the first fruit of Ethiopia about the slavery and the Muhammad peace be upon him, which they struggle. And Muhammad peace be upon him said in the last khutbah, no one superior between which piety. And Shadis and in Pakistan 1 million people Shia, and the Shadis that mean that Shadi is a place in Pakistan, and it has this places have a lot of slavery and 1 million slavery between two things. Thank you.
For that.
Okay, I think touch on the history. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, please. Then we pass it to you, Ms. Alia. You can take it.
Hi again, this is Ms. Farzad. I want to share one thing else with you, that this book is a very great book because it the girl that the Mr. Alice that write this book, I really love her because she she started this book from Pakistan and a river, and it he got it into Afghanistan. She got it into Afghanistan and share their thoughts about Pakistan and about their language, about their relations. And I think that is a very great book from the Pakistan up to Afghanistan, and share their opinions with us. And thank you. And I really love this kind of book, and I will share it with my friends too. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Anybody else from Parwan who'd like to come and share their views on the book?
So, one more things that I just wanted to mention. When we just received the book from Miss Alina, we was just shocked that how we can just finish this book just about 1 month. You know, it was really hard for us. But when I just opened the first page of the book, I just read that there was writing. When I couldn't write this book. I couldn't wrote this book if all these things would not happen. And when I just saw the name of Osama bin Laden, I think most of people know it. I just find interesting to read this book because there's name of Osama bin Laden. Even when I hear his name, I just scared that how he would be. And she just showed her courage, that how she's brave, that she can write this book even in that situation that the girls don't have this right to like to study, to write some things, to go outside of their country. But she just said the story of the Asia, and it was really interesting for me.
Thank you so much for that.
Miss Alia, to just let you know or keep you in the loop, it was about 4 or 5 days that the students received the book. So that's why most of them, they're not, because it's a very thin book and thick book, and they did not read it all, I'm sure, 100%. So to just keep you in the
Understand,
loop.
not at all. Okay. So since the students in Afghanistan did not get a lot of time to read the book, there is something about the book that I would like to share while I was reading about it, and that got me really intrigued and interested. So I'd like to share the story of Jhule Lal as I understand it. So the story of Jhule Lal is a legend, and it actually encompasses the whole essence of the river Indus itself. The story of Jhule Lal starts in what is now Thatta in Sindh, Pakistan, and so I think it was, I'm forgetting the date, but like in probably the 8th or the 9th century, there was a king by the name of Mirak Shah, who was the ruler of Thatta. And Thatta at that time had a large Hindu population. So the king decided that he wanted all his population to be Muslim because he was a Muslim ruler. And he told his wazir that I want you to go and speak to the people around you. And there are 7 tribes of Hindus. I want them to be convert into Islam. And if they don't, I will behead them all. And Mirak Shah's story or his message was given to all of the people. And so when the Hindus found out that they were being forced to change their religion, they were extremely upset. And they started praying to their Lord Varuna and asked him to save them from the evils of the king Mirak Shah, who was forcing them to change their religion because they did not want to change their religion. They did not understand Islam, and they did not believe in what was being preached by force by the people under the rule of Mirak Shah. So they decided to go to the Indus River and do a chilla or fasting for 40 days. In those 40 days, all of the people of that area, all of the Hindu people got together and they did meditation, prayers, fasting on the riverbank. They let their hair grow. They did not do any grooming. They did not go back to their houses. They used to just pray to Varuna and ask him to come and save them. And on the 40th day, their prayer was answered, and a voice from the river said that go back to your houses. A boy child will be born, which will be a reincarnation, and he will save you from the terror of Mirak Shah. So the people got really happy and they went back to their village. And when the people of Mirak Shah came and said that you don't have a lot of time, you better tell us what you're wanting to do fast, they said, okay, just give us a little time and we will let you know whether we want to convert or not. But in their hearts, they knew that Varuna had come to save them and they would not be forced to convert. So when to cut a really long story short, a baby boy was born. And the name of the child was Odero Lal. And Odero Lal was born into a family, and even as a child, he could perform miracles. He would, from a very young age, he would be in a cradle, and the cradle would just swing by itself, hence the name Jhule Lal. And you know, he was never a burden to his mother or his people. He would always be smiling, and from the skies, rattles came down for him. And he grew up really fast. So one day when the army of Mirak Shah came to force the people to convert their religion from Hinduism to Islam, they prayed to Lord Varuna and asked him to save them. And Udairolal, the little boy, turned into a sage old man who was on top of a dolphin, and he was on the river. And he told the army that if you come and harm these people, we would destroy you. So the army went back to Miraksha and told him what had happened. And Miraksha said, I don't believe in all of this. You go over there and you do as I ask. But when Miraksha came into the battlefield and he saw this sage old man with long white hair and sitting peacefully and saying that if he wanted to kill the people, he would first have to kill him, something happened to Miraksha and he couldn't do it. So he went back to his palace to think over what he had seen, because he could not believe what he had seen. So he went into deep prayer, and in his prayers he had a dream, and the dream was that he should not force people to convert their religion. On the contrary, he should let people be and become a ruler of such wisdom and such equality that people automatically would get attracted to his religion and would want to convert on their own and not by force. So Miraksha thought that that was a really good idea. And the little boy Udairolal, he grew up. And as he grew up, he was revered by both the Hindus and the Muslims of the region, and everyone understood him to be a saint and a sage. So when Miraksha, and while he was alive, there were no tussles or no fights between the Hindus and the Muslims. They were living together happily, and the Muslims would do the Muslim rituals and the Hindus would be left to do as they pleased. And the society progressed really well. The whole land of Thatta during that time of Udairolal was progressive and prosperous. They used to have a river flowing through it, which was known as Saraswati, which dried up later on. But at that time, because of the blessings of being good to each other, the land produced lots and lots of crops. There was no famine during that time. The rains would come on time and make sure that the land remained fertile and their crops grew constantly. And but when Udairolal died and it was time for his burial, the fights erupted again between the Hindus and the Muslims, because the Muslims said, okay, no, he is our saint, so we will build our own shrine for him. And the Hindus said, no, he was ours, so we will build a temple for him. And then they both started fighting amongst themselves. And while they were fighting, they heard a voice come from the skies which said that I belong to all of you. So don't fight over me. I came into this world to tell you to live in peace and harmony together. And if you will not stop fighting, if you fight in my name, everything that I came to do will be undone. And that really scared the people. So when he died, a shrine was built for him, which exists even today. Part of that shrine is a Muslim shrine, and part of it is a Hindu temple. And he is revered by both Hindus and Muslims in Pakistan. And there is a saying in Sindhi, in Pakistan, which roughly translates to Jhulelal Bera Par, which means that as long as you believe in Jhulelal, everything, if you come to his shrine and pray, everything that you've asked for will definitely happen. But the story of Jhulelal is really important, and I think Alice also really plays a lot of emphasis on it, is because it talks about coexistence of different castes. And it also talks about a time when this region was progressive. And that could only happen when we are tolerant of each other, when we respect each other, and when we don't force our ideas and opinions on others. So the story of Jhulelal, I feel, is very, very important in today's day and time, because it teaches us of values of tolerance. It teaches us value of coexistence, and it teaches us values of respect for each other. So you don't have to just respect people who are like you, or who follow your religion, or look like you, or dress like you, but you have to respect each and every person. And it is only by being a a testament to what you believe in, that you will truly be able to inspire people. So that was the story of, that was the legend of the Indus that I really wanted to share with each and every one of you. And now I would love to have your thoughts on this. So let's start with Pakistan first. Anybody who would like to share their thoughts on the story of Jhulelal, and then we will go to Parwan and ask them what they think.
As I noted in this story, it was about peace, and it, it was how the king, the Muslim king, changed his mind from a dream. Like it's about a dream. I really wish, I really hope, same dream could come, or could the same dream would come to the people who are torturing, or who are very unfair to the Muslims right now, or even Hindus in the, for example, in Kashmir, in Afghanistan, in Syria, in Palestine, and you are right. It's really important for like for these days, and global problems, you can say, or this dream that the Malik Shah, I think, had. It's really important for nowadays, for every empowered person, I think.
Thank you so much for that. I agree. But there is one thing that I'd like all of us to think about. When we talk about the problems that are facing the world, it is very easy to pick up on a perspective that we think we connect very closely to. But I would love to know what you people think about how we treat our minorities. Both Pakistan and Afghanistan have a very small population of minorities. Have we ever thought, why is that? Are we as tolerant as we claim to be? We are very willing to fight for the rights of the Palestinian people, or for the rights of the Kashmiri people, and or for the rights of a lot of other Muslim countries across the world which are in a state of war. And we must, and we should. But have we ever thought about what we are doing to our minorities? Are we the right people to talk about these issues when we are not addressing the issues more closer to home? Are we as tolerant as we claim to be? Or are we just picking on these issues because it is easier to do so than to change our own patterns and routines? So this is a thought that I want all of us to mull over. While we do that, let's move to Parwan and ask them what they think about the story of Jhulelal and what they think the story teaches us. Parwan, over to you.
Hello, Miss Alia. This is Surya Hakimi. As you tell the story of Jhulelal, it was very great. I really love it. And also, it has a very deep message for us. So we have to live like a human. It doesn't matter that we are Muslim, we are Hindu, we follow other religions. It's just important that we have to be like a human. We have to respect each other from every different culture, different countries. It doesn't matter. Just we have to be like a human, and we have to respect each other. And we just live in the world. We have to live friendly and be kind with each other. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I absolutely agree. Being human comes first. Our faith, our religion, our nationality, our ethnicities is all secondary. But the thing that unites each and every one of us to each other is that we're all human beings, and we are all sons and daughters of Adam. So we must never forget that. Every time we feel intolerant, we must recall that we are more similar than different. And it is only by understanding our similarities and understanding that uniqueness that we all bring with our differences that we will truly be able to progress and move forward. Okay. On that note, anybody else from Parwan who would like to share their thoughts and opinions on the story of Jhulelal?
How much more time you have? Ms. Alia, how much more time we have?
We have 10 more minutes.
Okay.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum to everybody. It's Hormatullah Habibi. So what I get from the story of Jurelal, while Ms. Alia was telling the story of Jurelal, actually, so it made me think about the religion we have, Islam. So when it came or when it prevailed in the society after Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born. So one thing, I mean, there are many things special about Islam, but one thing that there is, it's significantly important to address is that it is a religion of tolerance. It's where Muslims have to tolerate people and to guide them to the right path. Another thing about Islam is that Prophet Muhammad peace be upon him says that go to every religion, see what the beliefs are and what they think about every phenomenon in the society. And then if you find any religion better than Islam, choose that. So this is what I get from the story. And about the relations, I would just like to address some more points in the conversations we just recently had about the relations of the two countries, Pakistan and Afghanistan. Since these programs are, a platform where we connect to each other, we make network, and we are on a mission to omit the borders, between the two countries, like to have relations. So I think there is no difference between Pakistan and Pak and Afghan people. We are all Muslims, we are all humans, and that's the only thing which is important. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that thought. Anybody from Rawalpindi who would like to stress on the same fact that the story of Jhulelal talks about unity, it talks about tolerance, it talks about integration, it talks about moving together, living in harmony, creating a society that has space for each and every one of us, even with our similarities and our differences.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Shahroz and I am from Grammar School Rawalpindi. I would just like to talk on the story of Jhulelal, that this story teaches us peace and harmony and brotherhood, like the Muslims and the Hindus were united when Jhulelal was alive, and when he died they started fighting, and differences occurred between them. So we should be united and just live peacefully. Like we should give equal rights to our minorities and majorities, and we should give shelter to the refugees if they come from other countries, and we should protect their holy sites if they are a part of a country, so that they could worship their holy sites peacefully. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shahroz. That was so aptly and so beautifully put. It kind of summarizes the whole story that we were trying to discuss through the story of Empires of the Indus by Alice Albina, which talks about different things that exist as you travel the route of the Indus. Different people that you come across, and all of them bring their own flavor, their own color into the world. If we all were to appreciate it, if we all were to understand it, respect it, and learn from it, then all of us would have a much better tomorrow. And we would be much more progressive, much more geared up for success, because it is only when we move away from wars and fightings and live and progress that we can actually achieve something. If all of our energies and all of our experiences are focused on territorial control or some form of putting yourselves above somebody else, then your energies are misdirected. So our energies need to be directed towards the improvement of humankind at large. One of the things that I also wanted to talk about, unfortunately we're really running out of time, is that rivers themselves act as highways. Rivers are the connection between civilizations, between people. Today, modern technology has made it possible for us to travel via roads and airplanes, but in the olden days, the sea routes were the most important routes for trade, for civilizations to develop, and most of the civilizations around the world developed across the riverbeds, whether that be the Egyptian civilization, whether that be the Byzantines, why that be the Roman Empire or the Indus civilization. All of them developed on the natural paths that were created by the rivers that used to flow through it, because water has, since the beginning of time, been the essence of time itself. And on that note, I'd like to end our session today. I would like to thank each and every one of you for being an amazing host, for being an amazing participant. I apologize once again for the error that happened as we started our programming. Sometimes these things can't be controlled. But having said that, I think we will need to keep ourselves tighter and make sure that these links are not shared externally with anyone, so that we can continue having these conversations with Matter and keep holding sessions that keep engaging us and keep challenging the way we think. And so all of you have a lovely day. Enjoy the next book that you will be reading. And inshallah, we will connect soon with a third session and a new book and a new conversation.
Thank you so much, Ms. Alia, for being patient, for reading for the summarizing the entire book again. As earlier I said that we just received about 1 week ago the book, so that's why most of the students were not able to take part. But inshallah, the schools are probably finishing soon, so in the next session they will be active in this session. So let's give a round of applause for the Rawalpindi for Ms. Alia. So it's such an honor that we have everybody from the Pakistan, and it is a privilege and it's an honor for the LLC Charcoal to host such a program, because we know that how much important these kind of communications are. So thank you so much. If you want to say something.
Very good morning, Ms. Alia. This is Alina Latif again, Book Club Across Borders coordinator. I really enjoyed from today's session. This session was the second session that we had. And based on some problems and challenges that we had in this session, I'm really sorry about that. That our students' attendance and also our students' maybe activities it was a little bit different from the previous session, and because of that, the arrival process of the books had problem, and we received the books really late. And another problem was that the numbers of the page were a lot and really different from the previous session's book. But I always emphasize the kind students that please be ready for every kind of book, because you can do it. You are the motivated students, and you are the shining stars of Taiwan, the shining stars of Afghanistan. And thanks, super thanks from you, Ms. Alia, and because of your kind words always for us, that is always inspiring us and also our students. And thank you very much from our nice students because of their attendance and hard working. And I wish you a great success and also great time ahead. Thank you very much.